children, this is Mrs. Haripriya from Pon Vidyashram. Welcome you all for the Constitutional Design Part 2. Right. So in the first part we had discussed about what is a constitution, why do we need a constitution, who is Mr. Nelson Mandela, what for he fought for, how he came across this apartheid system, and how the South African frame the constitution. All these things we saw in the first video, and now in this video what are all the challenges faced by the drafting committee of the Indian constitution, under what are all the difficulties they faced during framing the constitution of India. So why should we follow this Indian constitution, and the preamble of the constitution. All these things we are going to see in this video. Yes, shall we start? Making of the Indian constitution. So unlike South Africa, India's constitution was also drawn up under a very difficult circumstances. So it was not an easy job. So the making of the constitution for a very huge and diverse country like India is a difficult one. Right. You may know that we got independence like that independence was divided the India into two major partitions. One is India and the another one is Pakistan. So the country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. So it was a traumatic experience for the people of India and Pakistan during that time. So almost at least 10 lakh people were killed on both the sides of the border in partition related violence. It was another problem that the British had left the rulers of the princely states to decide whether they wanted to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. So the merger of these princely states was a difficult and uncertain task. The makers of the constitution had anxieties about the present and the future of the country regarding the framing of the constitution. So, in 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India. In 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress dwelt on how independent India's constitution should look like. Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of major three things. That is, the first one is universal adult franchise, that is vote for all, and the right to freedom and also equality, and to protect the right of the minority people in the Constitution of Independent India. Thus, some basic values were accepted by all the leaders much before the Constituent Assembly met to deliberate on the Constitution. The familiarity with the political institutions of colonial rule also helped develop an agreement over the institutional design. After a lot of years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the constitution, they had another benefit. Our leaders gained confidence to learn from other countries, but on our own terms. Many of our leaders were inspired by the world's first revolution, that was the French Revolution, and the practice of the parliamentary democracy in the Britain and the Bill of Rights in the US. So they are looking after the constitution of the other countries, but it is not like imitating. It is like they are thinking that at each step they were questioning themselves whether these things were suited to our country or not. So all these factors are contributed to the making of our constitution. The drafting of the document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives. They were all called the Constituent Assembly. The Constitution Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. So all these 299 members are the elected representatives by the people. So the Assembly adopted the Constitution on the date of 26th November 1949, but actually it came to effect on the date of 26th January 1950. That is why we are celebrating that January 26th is our Republic Day every year. Elections to the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946, and its first meeting was held in the December 1946. So after the country was divided into India and Pakistan, the Constituent Assembly was also divided into the Constituent Assembly of India and that of Pakistan. First, some basic principles were decided and agreed upon. Then a drafting committee chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar prepared a draft constitution for discussion. Several rounds of thorough discussion took place on the draft constitution, clause by clause. More than 2000 amendments were considered. The members deliberated for 114 days spread over 3 years. So every document presented and every word spoken in the Constituent Assembly has been recorded and also preserved. These are called the Constituent Assembly debates. When you print these debates, it will be like 12 bulky volumes. These debates provide the rationale behind every provision of the Constitution. And finally, as I already said, it came into effect on 26th January 1950. After all these things, you may have a question that why should we accept this constitution? So over the last half a century, several groups have questioned some provisions of the constitution, but no large social group or political party has ever questioned the legitimacy of the constitution itself. This is an unusual achievement for any constitution. And the second reason for accepting the constitution is that the Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. It was elected mainly by the members of the existing provincial legislatures that we already mentioned. This ensured a fair geographical share of the members from all the regions of the country. And also the assembly represented the members from different languages, groups, castes, classes, religions and occupations. So finally, above all these things, the manner in which the Constituent Assembly worked gives sanctity to the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open and consensual manner. So that is the reason why should we have to accept this Constitution. So the guiding values of the Indian Constitution. We can understand this Constitution of India in two different ways. One is by reading the views of some of the major leaders on the Constitution, and the another one is by understanding what the Constitution says about its own philosophy. Right. So first we are going to see about the views of the major leaders. So Mahatma Gandhi in his magazine of Young India in 1931, he spelled out what he wanted the constitution to do. But B.R. Ambedkar criticized the Mahatma Gandhi and his vision. And while looking after this, Jawaharlal Nehru, he gave speech on the midnight of August 15, 1947. So he stated, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom. So freedom and power bring responsibilities. Service of India means service of the millions who suffer. The ambition of the greatest man of our generation has been to wipe every tear from every eye. So while looking after the preamble of the Constitution of India, we can easily find out the basic values of the Constitution. What do you mean by a preamble? Preamble is nothing but the index of the Constitution. So the Constitution of India is a very long and detailed document, and it is amended regularly to keep dated, and it lays down a procedure for choosing person to govern the country. It defines who will have how much power to take decision, and it also limits the rights of the government and also the rights of the citizen that cannot be violated. So here is some of the makers of the constitution. The first one, the picture is T.T. Krishnamachari. He was born in Tamil Nadu. He is the member of the drafting committee. And the second one, G. Durgabai Deshmukh. She is born in Andhra Pradesh. She is an advocate and a public activities for women's emancipation. She is the founder of Andhra Mahila Sabha, and she is also a Congress leader. And the third one, Somnath Lahiri. He was born in West Bengal. He is a writer and editor and also the leader of the Communist Party of India. She is Mrs. Sarojini Naidu, who was born in Andhra Pradesh. She is a poet, writer and also a political activist. Among the foremost women leaders in the Congress, she is the governor of UP. H.C. Mukherjee, he was born in Bengal. He is the vice chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Jaipal Singh, he is born in Jharkhand, a sportsman and also an educationist. He is also a captain of the first national hockey team. So next one is Abul Kalam Azad. He was born in UP and he is an educationist, author and theologian, scholar and Arabic Congress leader active in the national movement. And the last one is the Vallabhbhai Patel. He was born in Gujarat. He is the Minister of Home, Information and Broadcasting in the interim government. He is also a lawyer and also the leader of Bardoli Peasant Satyagraha. His Maniklal Munshi, born in Gujarat, advocate, historian and a linguist. He is also a Congress leader and a Gandhian. Then Bhimarao Ramji Ambedkar, who was the chairman of the drafting committee, born in Maharashtra. So he is the social revolutionary thinker and agitated against caste divisions and caste-based inequalities. She is Mr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. She was born in West Bengal, who is the Minister for Industry and Supply in the interim government. And the last one is the Rajendra Prasad. He was born in Bihar. He was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly. So he is a lawyer and also known for his role in the Champaran Satyagraha. Here is the preamble of the Indian Constitution, which is stating, we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among themselves fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution. So, here is the meaning of that preamble. So, we, the people of India, the Constitution has been drawn up and enacted by the people through their representatives and not handed down to them by a king or any. What do you mean by sovereignty? The right to make our own decision. Socialist is wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by the society. What do you mean by secularism? The citizens have complete freedom to follow any religion. Democracy, a form of government where people enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers and hold them accountable. Then republic, the head of the state is an elected person and not a hereditary position. Justice, citizens cannot be discriminated on the grounds of caste, religion and gender. Liberty, there are no unreasonable restrictions on the citizens in what they think, how they wish to express their thoughts and the way they wish to follow up their thoughts in action. Equality, all are equal before the law. The traditional social inequalities have to be ended. Fraternity, all of us should behave as if we are members of the same family and no one should treat a fellow citizen as inferior. The institutional design. The Constitution describes the institutional arrangements in a very legal language. If you read the Constitution for the first time, it can be quite difficult to understand. Yet, the basic institutional design is not very difficult to understand. Like any other constitution, the Indian Constitution lays down a procedure for choosing persons to govern the country. It defines who will have how much power to take which decision, and it also put the limits to what the government can do by providing some rights to the citizen that cannot be violated. So the remaining chapters will explain the other three aspects of the Indian Constitution. I hope you will all got a clear idea about what is a constitution and why do we need a constitution. So we will see you in the next chapter with the new video. Thank you, children.